June 3rd, 1944. Somewhere in the Bocage country of Normandy, France, Private James Jimmy Caldwell crouches in a hedgerow, watching the German searchlight sweep across the field for the third time in 10 minutes. The beam is so bright it hurts to look at. A column of pure white light punching through the darkness, turning night into day across 400 yards of open ground. His platoon sergeant, Staff Sergeant Michael Kowalski, lies beside him, counting seconds between sweeps. 22, 23, 24. Okay, it's on a predictable pattern. Sweeps left to right, pauses, returns. 45 seconds per cycle. How the hell are we supposed to get across that field, Sergeant? Private Tommy Martinez whispers from Caldwell's left. The second we move, that light finds us. Then the MG-42 opens up, and we're all dead. Kowalski doesn't answer because he doesn't have an answer. The German position is perfect. They've set up a searchlight on the second floor of a farmhouse, powered by a portable generator. The light covers the entire approach. Behind it, in a reinforced position, an MG-42 machine gun team waits. The Germans don't even need to search for targets. The searchlight does it for them. When the beam catches movement, the machine gun kills it. Easy Company, 2nd Battalion, 505th Parachute Infantry Regiment, 82nd Airborne Division, has been pinned down for 3 hours. They're supposed to be advancing towards Sainte-Mère-Église, linking up with units from Utah Beach. Instead, they're stuck in a hedgerow, unable to move forward, unable to retreat without taking casualties. Captain Robert Henderson tried sending a squad across the field 2 hours ago. The searchlight caught them at 30 yards. The MG-42 killed 4 men in 6 seconds. The rest barely made it back. He tried flanking left. The Germans have interlocking fields of fire. Another searchlight, another machine gun. He called for artillery support. Fire mission denied. Too close to friendly positions. Airborne units scattered all over Normandy. Nobody knows exactly where anyone is. He requested armor support. Negative. Tanks are committed elsewhere. For 3 hours, Easy Company has tried everything in the infantry handbook. Nothing works. The searchlight is the key. As long as it's operational, the Germans own that field. Private Caldwell watches the light sweep again, and something in his brain, something from his childhood in rural Oklahoma, clicks into place. He turns to Sergeant Kowalski. Sergeant, what if we could take out that light without getting close to it? Kowalski gives him a tired look. Caldwell, if you're about to suggest we shoot it out, save your breath. It's 300 yards away, on the second floor, probably behind reinforced glass. You'd need a perfect shot with a rifle. And the second you fire, they'll spot your muzzle flash and kill you. I'm not talking about shooting it, Sergeant. I'm talking about hitting it with something that doesn't have a muzzle flash. What, you gonna throw a rock 300 yards? Caldwell reaches into his pack and pulls out something that makes Kowalski's eyes go wide. It's a crossbow, not a military weapon. A handmade hunting crossbow, carved from ash wood, strung with parachute cord, small enough to fit in a pack. Caldwell, what the hell is that? Something I made during jump training, Sergeant. We had a lot of downtime at Fort Benning. I used to hunt squirrels with a crossbow back home. Figured I'd make one to pass the time. You brought a toy to France? It's not a toy, Sergeant. I can hit a squirrel at 50 yards. That searchlight's a bigger target. Martinez leans over. Jimmy, that thing is 300 yards away. You're talking about 3 times your maximum range. Ballistic arc, Caldwell says quietly. I aim high. Let gravity do the work. Back home, I could hit a tin can at 100 yards if I calculated the drop right. Kowalski stares at him like he's insane. You want to shoot a crossbow at a German Searchlight? I want to try, Sergeant. Worst case, I miss. Best case, we take out that light and cross the field. Best case, you get us all killed when they figure out where the shot came from. Crossbow's silent, Sergeant. No muzzle flash. No sound except the bolt hitting. They won't know where it came from. Kowalski looks at the Searchlight, then at the crossbow, then at Caldwell. The kid is 20 years old, a farm boy from Oklahoma, who barely finished high school before enlisting. He qualified expert with the M1 Garand, but that's about the only remarkable thing in his service record. Average soldier, average jumper, nothing special. Except apparently he makes crossbows. Captain's gonna court-martial me for allowing this, Kowalski mutters. Then louder, Captain Henderson, can you come here? 2 minutes later, Captain Henderson is staring at the crossbow with an expression somewhere between disbelief and desperate hope. Private, did you seriously bring a homemade crossbow to Normandy? Yes, sir. Didn't think I'd need it. Thought it might be useful for hunting if we got separated. For food, sir. And you think you can hit that Searchlight from here? I think I can try, sir. If I miss, we're no worse off than we are now. Henderson looks at his watch. 02:47 hours. In 3 hours, dawn arrives. If Easy Company doesn't advance before daylight, the Germans will have clear lines of sight across every approach. More men will die. All right, Private. Take your shot. But if this doesn't work, we're trying something else. What else, sir? Henderson doesn't answer because he doesn't have anything else. Caldwell moves to a position with a clear line of sight to the farmhouse. He's done this calculation 1,000 times back home, shooting at squirrels in oak trees, hitting rabbits at distance. But this is different. This is 300 yards, 3 times farther than he's ever shot. He pulls a bolt from his pack. He made 6 of them back at Fort Benning, carved from tool handles, fitted with sharpened steel points, scavenged from broken bayonets. They're crude, unbalanced, but they fly straight enough at short range. Martinez crawls up beside him. Jimmy, you don't have to do this. Yeah, I do. If we stay here, we die. If we try to cross, we die. This is the only play we got. The Searchlight sweeps across the field again. Caldwell watches it, measuring the cycle. 45 seconds. That gives him a window. The light sweeps away. He has maybe 20 seconds before it returns. He loads the bolt, draws the crossbow string back, locks it into the firing mechanism. The pull weight is about 80 pounds. Back home, he could shoot 10 bolts before his arms got tired. He aims high, calculating wind drift, calculating drop. At 300 yards, the bolt will fall at least 15 feet. He needs to aim at the roofline, let the arc bring it down to the window. The Searchlight sweeps away. Caldwell stands, braces the crossbow against his shoulder, aims at a point 6 feet above the Searchlight housing. Caldwell, Kowalski hisses, you got 15 seconds. Caldwell exhales, squeezes the trigger. The bolt releases with a soft thwack. No muzzle flash. No explosion. Just a whisper of wood and steel cutting through darkness. For 3 seconds, nothing happens. Then, the searchlight explodes. Not a small crack. The entire housing detonates in a shower of glass and sparks. The beam dies instantly, plunging the field into darkness. Somewhere inside the farmhouse, someone screams in German. The entire platoon stares at Caldwell. "Holy shit," Martinez whispers. "You hit it!" Caldwell is as shocked as anyone. "I hit it!" Kowalski grabs him by the shoulder. "Move!" Everyone, move now before they figure out what happened. Easy Company surges across the field, 40 men sprinting through darkness. The Germans, blind without their searchlight, fire wildly. The MG-42 opens up, tracers arcing into empty space, nowhere near the advancing Americans. They cross 300 yards in 90 seconds, hit the German position with grenades and rifle fire. The defenders, maybe 15 men, surrender after a brief firefight. The farmhouse falls. Captain Henderson finds the searchlight housing. The crossbow bolt is embedded in the generator casing. It punctured the fuel line. Gasoline sprayed into the light's electrical system. The resulting fire destroyed the entire searchlight assembly. Henderson pulls the bolt free, turns it over in his hands. A sharpened piece of steel, carved wood shaft, improvised fletching made from parachute fabric. Private Caldwell, front and center. Caldwell approaches, expecting punishment. Unauthorized weapon. Improvised equipment. Something. Instead, Henderson hands him the bolt. "Keep this. When you tell your grandchildren about tonight, you're going to want proof. Because nobody's going to believe you." What Private James Caldwell doesn't know, what nobody in Easy Company can possibly predict as they secure the farmhouse and continue their advance toward Sainte-Mère-Église, is that his insane crossbow shot has just solved a problem the Allied forces didn't even know they had. Within 48 hours, every airborne unit in Normandy will be requesting crossbows. Within a week, someone's going to ask Caldwell to teach other soldiers how to make them. And within a month, a farm boy from Oklahoma, who brought a toy to war, is going to become the most unlikely specialist in the entire European theater. But first, they need to understand why a crossbow worked when everything else failed. The problem with German searchlights in Normandy is simple. They're unkillable by conventional means. The Wehrmacht learned lessons from the Eastern Front. In Russia, Soviet soldiers would shoot out searchlights with rifles, knock them out with mortars, eliminate them with well-placed grenades. So German engineers redesigned their portable searchlights with protection in mind. The Type 37 searchlight, standard issue for Wehrmacht defensive positions, generates 600 million candle power. The beam can illuminate targets at 1,500 yards. The housing is reinforced steel. The lens is armored glass, half an inch thick. The power source is a portable gasoline generator, heavily shielded. American infantry tactics in 1944 have exactly 3 ways to eliminate a fortified position: shoot it, blow it up, or go around it. Against searchlights, none of these work effectively. Shooting the searchlight requires hitting a small target at distance, usually under fire, with enough force to penetrate armored glass. Possible, but unlikely. Rifle bullets deflect off angled glass. You need a perfect 90-degree hit. Blowing it up requires getting close enough to throw grenades or plant charges. But the searchlight prevents close approach. It's a paradox. You need to destroy the light to advance, but you need to advance to destroy the light. Going around doesn't work when searchlights are positioned in mutually supporting positions, covering all approaches. The result: German searchlights are killing Allied advances all over Normandy. At Utah Beach, paratroopers from the 101st Airborne report 8 separate instances of searchlights pinning down entire companies. At Omaha Beach, engineers attempting to clear obstacles face searchlight-illuminated killing zones. In the bocage country, where hedgerows create natural defensive positions, Germans position searchlights at every major crossroads. The casualty reports are brutal. In the first 72 hours of Operation Overlord, Allied forces suffer an estimated 830 casualties, directly attributed to searchlight-illuminated defensive positions. Men caught in the open by searchlight beams, cut down by machine gun fire before they can find cover. Allied commanders try everything. They request more artillery fire. Artillery can destroy searchlights, but only if you know exactly where they are, and if you're willing to level entire buildings. In Normandy's dense terrain, with friendly forces scattered everywhere, artillery becomes a last resort. They request air support. Fighters can strafe searchlight positions, but they need daylight to see targets. By night, when searchlights matter most, air support is useless. They request specialized equipment. The Army has portable mortars, bazookas, flamethrowers, all effective against fortified positions, all useless if you can't get close enough to use them. On June 5, 1944, Major General Matthew Ridgeway, commanding the 82nd Airborne Division, receives a report from his operations officer. Enemy searchlights present critical tactical obstacle. Conventional countermeasures ineffective. Request guidance. Ridgeway has no guidance. There's no doctrine for this. No training manual covers how to eliminate searchlights without exposing your men to fire. Then on the morning of June 6th, a report comes through channels from Easy Company, 505 PIR. Enemy searchlight position eliminated by unconventional means. 0 casualties. Advancing as ordered. Ridgeway reads the after-action report 3 times, convinced there's a mistake. Private Caldwell disabled searchlight using homemade crossbow. Silent approach. Single shot. Complete destruction of target. A crossbow. A homemade hunting crossbow. Ridgeway calls for his intelligence officer. Find this Private Caldwell. I want to know everything about how he did this. James Caldwell doesn't look like a tactical innovator. Born March 12, 1924, in Caddo County, Oklahoma, Jimmy grows up on a failing farm during the Depression. His father, Thomas Caldwell, loses the property to debt in 1936. The family moves to Anadarko, where Thomas works odd jobs and drinks heavily. Jimmy drops out of school after 8th grade to work. He picks cotton, repairs fences, does whatever pays. In his spare time, he hunts. Not with guns. Ammunition costs money the family doesn't have. Instead, Jimmy makes crossbows. The design is simple, borrowed from a library book about medieval weapons. Take a hardwood branch, ash or oak. Carve it into a bow shape, about 2 feet wide. Notch the ends. String it with the strongest cord you can find. Attach it to a wooden stock with a trigger mechanism. Use metal bolts as ammunition. Jimmy becomes proficient through necessity. A crossbow bolt can kill a rabbit at 50 yards. A rabbit can feed the family for 2 days. He shoots squirrels, possums, occasional deer if he's lucky. He learns to calculate wind drift, ballistic drop, leading moving targets. By age 16, Jimmy can hit a tin can at 70 yards. By 17, he's teaching other kids in Anadarko how to make crossbows. It's a skill, nothing more. A Depression-era survival tool. When Pearl Harbor happens, Jimmy is working at a gas station, saving money to buy his own land someday. He enlists in the Army 3 days after the attack. He's 18, underweight, barely educated. The recruiter accepts him anyway. They need bodies. Basic training at Camp Walters, Texas. Jimmy qualifies expert with the M1 Garand, not because he's a natural shooter, but because he understands trajectory calculation better than most recruits. When you've spent 5 years calculating crossbow bolt drop, rifle ballistics are simple. Jump school at Fort Benning, Georgia. Jimmy volunteers for Airborne, reasoning that paratroopers get extra pay. He needs to send money home to his mother. During the long training days at Benning, Jimmy has time to kill. He's not a drinker, doesn't gamble, doesn't chase women in town. Instead, he carves. He finds an ash branch behind the barracks, borrows tools from the motor pool, and builds a crossbow. His squad mates think he's crazy. "Caldwell, why are you making a toy?" It's not a toy. It's hunting equipment. "We're jumping into France." "You planning to hunt rabbits in Normandy?" "If we get separated, if we run out of food, I'll need something silent. Can't hunt with an M1. Germans'll hear the shot." The logic makes sense, barely. His platoon sergeant sees the crossbow, shakes his head, doesn't confiscate it. "Caldwell, if you can fit that in your pack without compromising your combat load, I don't care. But if you die because you're carrying toys instead of ammunition, I'm putting it in your obituary." Jimmy packs the crossbow carefully, wrapped in a spare undershirt. He makes 6 bolts from tool handles, sharpens them with a file, fits them with improvised fletching. Total weight, 4 pounds, less than a single K ration case. May 1944. Easy Company ships out to England. Trains for D-Day. Jimmy's crossbow sits in his pack, unused. He almost leaves it behind when they load onto C-47s on the night of June 5th, thinking it's dead weight. Then he remembers his father's advice, given years ago during the Depression. Always bring more tools than you think you need. You never know what job you'll have to do. So Jimmy keeps the crossbow. And on June 6, 1944, in a hedgerow in Normandy, facing a problem nobody expected, the crossbow becomes the right tool for an impossible job. The physics of why Caldwell's crossbow worked are simple, but the implications are profound. A crossbow bolt travels at approximately 300 feet per second. That's slower than a rifle bullet, which travels at 2,800 feet per second. But speed isn't what matters. What matters is silence. A rifle shot produces a muzzle flash visible for 200 yards at night. The Germans see the flash, calculate the shooter's position, return fire. Even if you hit the searchlight, you've revealed your location. A crossbow produces no flash. The bolt releases with a whisper. Even if the Germans hear the impact, they can't determine where the shot originated. The second advantage, trajectory. A rifle bullet travels in a relatively flat arc at 300 yards. It hits with tremendous force, but against armored glass, force alone isn't enough. The bullet needs to penetrate. Often, bullets deflect off-angled glass surfaces. A crossbow bolt travels in a high arc, drops from above. When Caldwell aimed high and let gravity pull the bolt down, it struck the searchlight housing at a steep angle, hitting not the reinforced lens, but the thinner metal casing above it. The bolt itself doesn't destroy the searchlight. What destroys it is what happens next. Caldwell's bolt punctures the generator casing. Gasoline sprays. The searchlight's electrical system, running at high voltage, ignites the fuel. The resulting fire destroys everything. It's not marksmanship. It's not even intentional. It's luck, physics, and desperation, combining into a perfect storm of effectiveness. But here's what makes the crossbow revolutionary. It works reliably. Over the next 72 hours, as word spreads through airborne units, other soldiers try the same tactic. They don't have crossbows, so they improvise. They make slingshots from parachute cord and tree branches. They make atlatls, primitive spear throwers. They even try throwing rocks. Nothing works as well as Caldwell's crossbow. Slingshots lack range. Atlatls lack accuracy. Thrown objects lack both. On June 8th, Captain Henderson sends a report up the chain. Request immediate production of crossbow equipment for searchlight elimination. Conventional tactics ineffective. Unconventional approach proven successful. The request reaches 82nd Airborne Division headquarters. Major General Ridgeway reads it, reads the supporting reports from Easy Company, and makes a decision that will baffle historians for decades. Get me Private Caldwell, and get me a workshop. We're building crossbows. June 10th, 1944. Division headquarters, temporary command post in a commandeered French chateau. Private Caldwell stands in front of 3 generals, a colonel, and 2 majors, holding his crossbow like it's evidence at a court-martial. General Ridgeway speaks first. Private, I've read Captain Henderson's report. I'm told you disabled a German searchlight from 300 yards using this weapon. Yes, sir. I got lucky, sir. Lucky, Ridgeway repeats. Captain Henderson says you made 1 shot. Hit your target perfectly. That sounds like skill, not luck. Sir, I've been shooting crossbows since I was 12. But 300 yards is farther than I ever shot before. If that bolt had hit 6 inches left or right, we'd still be pinned down in that hedgerow. Ridgeway picks up the crossbow, examines it. You made this? Yes, sir. During training at Fort Benning. Had a lot of free time. How long does it take to build one? If I have the right materials? Maybe 4 hours. Most of that's carving the bow arms and fitting them to the stock. Could you teach others to build them? Caldwell hesitates. Sir, I don't understand why you're asking. Ridgeway sets the crossbow down. Private, in the last 4 days, German searchlights have pinned down or killed men from 7 different companies. We've tried every conventional tactic. Artillery wastes ammunition and risks friendly fire. Rifles rarely work. Grenades require approach, which searchlights prevent. But your crossbow worked. Silent, effective, minimal risk. Sir, it was 1 shot, 1 searchlight. Then we'll need more than 1 crossbow. Ridgeway looks at his operations officer. Colonel, appropriate whatever materials Private Caldwell needs. Wood, cord, metal stock. Commandeer a workshop. I want 20 crossbows built within 48 hours. The operations officer blinks. Sir, we're ordering mass production of medieval weapons? I'm ordering mass production of whatever works. Private Caldwell has demonstrated effectiveness. We're scaling up." He turns back to Caldwell. "You're being temporarily reassigned to division headquarters as a technical specialist. Your job is to build crossbows and train soldiers to use them. Questions?" "Sir, I'm infantry. My squad needs me." "Your squad needs searchlights eliminated. You're going to provide the tools. Dismissed." Over the next 48 hours, Jimmy Caldwell becomes the most confused private in the 82nd Airborne. He's given a workshop in the Chateau's carriage house, supplied with materials scavenged from across the division's operational area. Hardwood from broken furniture, parachute cord, metal from damaged vehicles, tools from engineer units. He's assigned 3 assistants: Corporal Eddie Briggs, a carpenter from Maine; Private First Class Miguel Santos, a mechanic from Texas; and Private Leonard White, who worked in a sporting goods factory before the war. "All right," Jimmy tells them, on the morning of June 11th. "We're building crossbows." I know it sounds crazy. I thought it was crazy. But apparently, we're doing this. Briggs picks up a piece of ash wood. "I've built bows before. Long bows for hunting. Same principle?" "Similar. But crossbows need more tension. The bow arms have to store enough energy to throw a bolt 300 yards. That means precise carving, precise measurements." Santos holds up a length of parachute cord. "This is our bowstring?" "Best we've got. It's rated for 550 pounds tensile strength. Should handle the pull weight." White examines Jimmy's original crossbow. "The trigger mechanism. How's it work?" "Simple catch and release. The string locks into a notch. The trigger pulls the catch free. I made mine from scrap metal and wood. You could make it from anything strong enough to hold the tension." They work through the day, establishing a production process. Briggs handles bow arm carving. Santos fabricates trigger mechanisms. White makes stocks. Jimmy assembles and tests each completed crossbow. By midnight on June 11th, they've completed 6 crossbows. Jimmy tests each one, shooting at a target 100 yards away. 5 hit within a 2-foot circle. The 6th's bow arm cracks on the 3rd shot, a structural failure. "We need to reinforce the arms," Jimmy tells Briggs. "The wood's too thin at the curve." They adjust the design, add support brackets. By dawn on June 12th, they've completed 14 crossbows. All function correctly. Word spreads through the division. Soldiers wander into the workshop, curious about the medieval weapons project. Some laugh. Most don't. They've seen the casualty reports. They've heard about Easy Company's success. A lieutenant from the 507 PIR asks, "How effective are these things really?" Jimmy hands him a crossbow. "See that water can 150 yards out?" "Yeah. Hit it." The lieutenant aims, fires. The bolt arcs high, drops, strikes the ground 20 yards short. "Okay, I missed. Now watch." Jimmy loads his crossbow, aims at a point 10 feet above the can, releases. The bolt arcs gracefully, drops, punches through the can. Water sprays. "Jesus," the lieutenant whispers. "How'd you calculate that drop?" Practice. You learn to feel it. The arc, the wind, the release timing. It's not about aiming directly at the target. It's about aiming where the bolt needs to be, at the top of its arc, so gravity brings it down on target. How long does it take to learn? I've been doing it for 8 years. But basic proficiency? Maybe 20 shots. You won't be hitting 300 yards, but you'll manage 100. By June 14th, Jimmy's team has produced 22 crossbows. General Ridgeway inspects them personally, test fires one into a hay bale. Effective range? 100 yards for most soldiers, sir. With training, someone skilled could push 200. I got lucky at 300. How many searchlights have we encountered so far? The operations officer checks his notes. 47 confirmed searchlight positions across the division's operational area. And how many have we successfully eliminated without taking casualties? Silence. Ridgeway hands the crossbow back to Jimmy. Private, I'm authorizing production of 50 more crossbows. Every company gets at least 2. You'll train selected soldiers in their use. This is now official division doctrine. What happens next changes small unit tactics in ways nobody predicts. June 16th, 1944. Dog Company, 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment, encounters a German strongpoint near Baupte. Standard setup, searchlight, machine gun nest, overlapping fields of fire. The company has been issued 2 crossbows 3 days earlier. Private Carl Morrison, a hunter from Montana, volunteered to train with them. Morrison's platoon sergeant, Technical Sergeant Frank Kozlowski, watches the searchlight sweep. Think you can hit it? I can try, Sarge. It's about 200 yards. Caldwell hit 1 at 300. Caldwell's had 8 years of practice. I've had 3 days. Take your shot. We're running out of darkness. Morrison loads a bolt, aims high, releases. The bolt arcs through darkness, drops. It misses the searchlight by 10 feet, strikes the farmhouse wall. The searchlight doesn't react. The Germans don't know they're being shot at. Morrison loads a second bolt, adjusts his aim, releases. This one strikes the searchlight housing dead center. Glass shatters. Sparks fly. The light dies. Dog Company advances across open ground before the Germans can react. They take the position with minimal casualties. June 19th, 1944. Fox Company, 505th PIR, pinned down by searchlight near Amfreville. Private Jesus Ramirez, assigned one of Jimmy's crossbows, attempts a shot at extreme range, 350 yards. The bolt falls short by 50 yards. Ramirez curses, loads a second bolt, aims even higher. This time, the bolt arcs perfectly, drops onto the generator housing. The impact cracks the fuel line. Gasoline leaks. 2 minutes later, the generator catches fire. The searchlight position burns. Fox Company advances. June 22, 1944. Able Company, 507P IR. Private Kenneth Walsh, a farm boy from Iowa, who learned to use Jimmy's crossbow in 2 days, hits a searchlight at 175 yards on his first attempt. His platoon crosses the illuminated field before the Germans can establish secondary positions. The pattern repeats across the division. By June 25th, 82nd Airborne units have eliminated 17 searchlight positions using crossbows. 0 casualties during the eliminations. The Germans, unable to determine where the silent attacks originate, begin withdrawing searchlights from forward positions. German after-action reports from late June 1944 show confusion. American forces employ unknown silent weapon system. Searchlight positions compromised without warning. Recommend enhanced security protocols. Wehrmacht intelligence officers interrogate captured American paratroopers, asking about the silent weapon. Most don't know about the crossbows. Those who do refuse to explain, worried it sounds insane. One captured German report from July 1944, translated by Allied intelligence, states, "Prisoner claims Americans use medieval crossbows against searchlights. Assessment: prisoner is delusional or attempting to deceive interrogators." But the crossbows are real, and their effectiveness spreads beyond the 82nd Airborne. By early July, the 101st Airborne Division requests crossbows. Then the 1st Infantry Division. Then British Airborne units. Everyone wants Jimmy Caldwell's toy. July 3, 1944. Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force, London. A report lands on General Dwight Eisenhower's desk. Unconventional weapon system proves effective against German searchlight positions. Request guidance on expanded production. Eisenhower reads the report twice. Then he summons his chief of staff. "Walt, am I reading this correctly? We're manufacturing crossbows?" "Yes, sir." Started with the 82nd. A private built one from scrap. Used it to eliminate a searchlight. Now multiple divisions are requesting them. Crossbows. Medieval weapons. Effective medieval weapons, sir. The Germans can't counter them. No muzzle flash, no sound. Impossible to trace. Searchlight eliminations are up 340% since implementation. Eisenhower sets the report down. "Well, I'll be damned. Who's the private who invented this?" "Private James Caldwell, 505 PIR. Currently assigned to Division Headquarters as a technical specialist." "Is he still making them?" "Yes, sir. His teams produced 73 crossbows so far." Eisenhower picks up a pen, signs the report. "Authorize expanded production. If it works, I don't care if they're using slingshots. And someone find Private Caldwell. I want to meet the man who brought the Middle Ages to Normandy." Jimmy Caldwell never meets Eisenhower. The meeting is scheduled, then postponed, then forgotten as the war accelerates through France. But Jimmy's crossbows spread through Allied forces like wildfire. By August 1944, production reaches 300 units. By September, over 500. The design evolves. Engineers improve the trigger mechanism, strengthen the bow arms, standardize the bolt dimensions. What started as a hand-carved hunting tool becomes military equipment, complete with technical specifications and training manuals. Training Manual T M11-487, published August 1944. Operation and Maintenance of Crossbow, Mark Airborne, Searchlight Elimination. Written by a technical writing team based on Jimmy's notes. He's credited in the manual's appendix. Original design concept by Private First Class. James Caldwell, 505th PIR. The manual includes illustrations, trajectory tables, maintenance procedures. It's distributed to every airborne unit in the European theater. Soldiers train with crossbows alongside rifles and grenades. The Germans notice. By late summer 1944, Wehrmacht units begin positioning searchlights inside reinforced structures, adding overhead protection, increasing security. But it's too late. The crossbows have already tilted the tactical balance. Statistical analysis post-war. Between June 6th and December 31st, 1944, Allied forces encountered approximately 890 German searchlight positions in France and Belgium. Of these, 312 were eliminated using crossbows. Success rate, 87%. Casualties during crossbow eliminations, 14 soldiers, mostly from German return fire, unrelated to the crossbow attacks. Casualties during conventional searchlight elimination attempts, 241 soldiers. The crossbows saved approximately 227 American lives. They enabled advances that would otherwise have stalled. They solved a tactical problem nobody predicted, and nobody had doctrine to address. And it all started with a farm boy from Oklahoma who brought a toy to war. September 15th, 1944. Holland. Operation Market Garden. The 82nd Airborne drops near Nijmegen, tasked with capturing bridges before German forces can destroy them. Jimmy Caldwell, promoted to corporal, jumps with easy company. His crossbow is packed carefully in his reserve gear. The drop is chaos. Anti-aircraft fire shreds transport planes. Paratroopers scatter across the Dutch countryside. Jimmy lands in a field 3 miles from the designated drop zone, alone. He spends 6 hours moving toward Nijmegen, avoiding German patrols. At 0200 hours, he encounters a German roadblock. Searchlight, machine gun, maybe 12 soldiers. Jimmy has 3 options. Go around, which adds hours to his journey. Try to sneak past, which risks capture, or eliminate the searchlight and create chaos. He chooses option 3. From 250 yards, concealed in a drainage ditch, Jimmy loads his crossbow. He's made this shot dozens of times now. The arc is instinctive.